Port. All right, imagine this man, you're sitting at home, scrolling through your phone, maybe you're half bored, half distracted, and then you see it again, that same headline, Port, Premier League, the best league in the world, and it hits you like, wait a second, is it really? Because everybody says it, every pundit, every fan, Port, every random dude on Twitter with a club badge in his bio, but nobody ever really breaks it down, and that's where it gets fun. Because once you start pulling at that thread, Port, you realize this debate is way bigger than football. It's about money, power, culture, even pride. It's tribal, it's global, it's war with shin pads on, Port. And when you dig into it, you start seeing just how insane this whole thing is, like the reach, the competitiveness, the star power, the challengers lining up, Port. And the way Europe keeps handing out reality checks, it's like a 5-round title fight where every punch matters. And I promise you, by the end of this breakdown, Port, you're either going to be more convinced than ever that the Premier League is untouchable, or you're going to be like, damn, maybe the crown isn't sitting as tight as we all thought. But either way, you're locked in now, so let's dive into this beast. All right, picture this, man. When people say the Premier League is globally popular, Port, they're not exaggerating. It's insane how deep this thing runs, like we're talking every corner of the planet. You've got kids in Brazil wearing Arsenal shirts, people in Africa screaming for Manchester United like it's their local team, Port. And you've got bars in New York City packed out at 7 in the morning with dudes chugging pence just to watch Spurs versus Aston Villa. Like, who the hell wakes up that early for mid-table football? But they do, because the Premier League has turned itself into not just a competition, but a global event. It's like the UFC of football, the NFL of the world. It just owns the space. The marketing is ridiculous. The broadcasting deals are like movie budgets, Sport. And it's not just about the money, it's about the accessibility. You can flip on a TV in Asia, in the Middle East, in South America, and the Premier League is right there live, or with commentary in local languages, and that makes it feel like it belongs to everyone, not just the English, like people in Lagos or Karachi feel like Chelsea is theirs, Port. People in Tokyo feel like Liverpool is theirs, and that's crazy powerful because it builds this sense of global identity where a team isn't just representing a city anymore, Port. It's representing millions of strangers all over the planet. And when you watch that stadium packed with fans, screaming, singing, holding scarves, you got to remember there are literally millions at home doing the same thing in different time zones, staying up till 3 a.m. or skipping work the next morning just to be part of it. And that kind of dedication doesn't happen without serious emotional investment. And the Premier League figured that out years ago. They leaned into storylines, rivalries, characters. You've got the drama of managers beefing in press conferences, transfer sagas dragged out like reality TV, the rise and fall of clubs, legends being made, legends being destroyed, and all of it gets fed to this giant global machine of social media highlights, memes, podcasts, YouTube clips. It's like an infinite loop that just keeps sucking in more people. And because it's so unpredictable, because even the big dogs can slip on a random Saturday, it keeps everyone hooked. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's addictive, like a drug, man. People want their hit every weekend. Now you've got Americans who don't even care about their own soccer league, calling themselves die-hard Liverpool fans. You've got people in China staying up all night for Manchester City, You've got entire pubs in India packed with Arsenal supporters singing North London chants like they grew up on the Holloway Road. It's wild, it's tribal, it's cultish, and it's absolutely unmatched in terms of reach. No other league has that kind of grip on the human psyche. Dude, the competitiveness in the Premier League is just nuts, Like, you look at it, and it's not like some other leagues where you already know who's winning before the season even kicks off. Like in France, it's PSG. In Germany, it's Bayern. In Spain, it's usually Madrid or Barca. But in England, man, you can't ever relax. It's chaos. One weekend City looks like gods, and the next week Wolves just smack them around. Like, what the hell just happened? And that's the hook. That's the juice. Because every single game feels like it matters. Even bottom of the table teams, the ones fighting relegation, they come out like it's a UFC main event, swinging like their lives depend on it, and they can take points off the so-called giants. You don't get that in a lot of other leagues. Usually the big guys steamroll. But here, there's always this feeling that the underdog could ruin your day, like Burnley taking points at Old Trafford or Bournemouth shocking Chelsea, and fans live for that, man. It's like a drug because you're constantly on edge, constantly thinking, no way my team slips here, and then bam, they do. And suddenly the title race looks different, The relegation fight looks different. Everything shifts. It's like chaos theory in football form. And the crazy part is it's not just about the results, it's about the styles. Like one team plays heavy possession, another sits back and counterattacks. Some go all high press like maniacs, others park the bus and wait for one lucky set piece. So every weekend you've got these clashing philosophies, these tactical battles, and they're all dangerous in their own way. And the managers add another layer because you've got Guardiola with his galaxy brain rotations, Klopp with his rock and roll football, new guys like De Zerbi shaking things up, and they're all capable of taking down each other. No one feels invincible for too long, and that's why the Premier League title race is always compelling. It's like a war of attrition where every single point is a bloodbath. Even the mid-table teams aren't safe. They're swinging for Europe. They're trying to upset the balance. And then you've got the relegation scrap, which is just as dramatic, like 3, 4, sometimes 5 clubs clawing for survival. Every match is life or death. And that whole ecosystem of danger, unpredictability, and raw intensity makes it feel alive. It makes fans worldwide lock in because you just don't know what you're going to get. It's the only league where watching 15th place versus 13th place on a Monday night can feel like a championship bout, and that's why it stays so damn addictive. Man, when you talk about star power in the Premier League, it's almost like Hollywood mixed with gladiator fights because the league isn't just packed with good players. It's loaded with superstars that people all over the planet recognize instantly, like you don't even need to be a football fan to know names like Haaland, Salah, Bruyne, Rashford, Kane when he was still there, and then you throw in Bruno, Saka, Son. It's like an Avengers lineup. Every single weekend you've got world-class talent stepping on the pitch and doing things that blow people's minds. And what makes it crazier is it's not just the players. It's the managers too, like Guardiola is basically a mad scientist. Klopp is this wild rock star motivator. You've got Mourinho still lurking in the shadows somewhere. Arteta building something like a young mastermind. And these guys aren't just coaches, they're characters, they're personalities. And they make headlines every time they open their mouth. So the drama never stops. And that's the thing with star power. It's not just about what happens on the pitch. It's the whole aura around these guys. Like Haaland scores 4 goals and suddenly social media is flooded with edits, memes, TikToks, reels. Everyone's talking about this robot Viking who just crushes defenders, or Salah cutting inside and smashing one top corner. The internet goes insane. And this is where the Premier League has that extra edge because these stars are part of a machine that pushes their image everywhere. TV, Twitter, Instagram, podcasts. You can't escape them. They're cultural icons as much as athletes, and you can feel it when you watch a game. It's not just 22 guys running after a ball. It's celebrities putting on a show, and the crowd is there like it's a concert, phones up, recording, screaming their lungs out, because they're witnessing moments that get replayed a billion times. And when you stack that up across all 20 teams, you realize the depth of star power is insane. Like even clubs in the bottom half have players who can produce viral highlights, some wonder kid who comes out of nowhere, or some veteran pulling off magic. And that's why the league feels like the center of the football universe, because these stars attract more stars. The best want to play with the best, and the managers want to test themselves against the best. So it becomes this magnet of talent where every year new faces show up. New storylines kick in, and the hype just keeps growing. It's like the league is running its own cinematic universe, and every weekend you get a new episode. Here's the thing, man, when you talk about challengers to the Premier League, you realize real quick that this isn't a one-horse race in world football because, yeah, the Premier League is the loudest, it's the flashiest, it's the most watched. But the throne isn't uncontested. You've still got Spain with Real Madrid and Barcelona, and Madrid especially. Dude, they're like the final boss of football. No matter what happens domestically, they show up in Europe and just start collecting Champions League trophies like Infinity Stones. And that's the kind of dominance that makes you go, wait a second, maybe La Liga isn't dead. Maybe it's just not as entertaining week to week. But when it comes to legacy and European weight, those guys still carry the hammer. And then you look at Italy, man. Serie A has been creeping back into relevance. Inter and Milan making Champions League runs, Napoli shocking the world with that Scudetto win. And the football there feels like it's waking up again after years of being in the shadows. So you can't ignore that. Then you've got Germany where Bayern Munich is like this machine. Maybe the domestic competition isn't wild, but Bayern's still this powerhouse everyone fears. And Dortmund keeps producing kids who turn into global superstars. So that pipeline is real. And even PSG in France, yeah, they dominate their league easily. but they've got that heavyweight roster, and every once in a while they'll give you that reminder that on their day, with Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, or whoever's leading the line, they can take down anyone. But here's the new twist, the crazy one. Saudi Arabia coming in like a sledgehammer, throwing around ridiculous amounts of money. Sport, pulling players out of their prime years, not just old legends cashing out, but legit stars walking away from Europe to take those mega contracts, and that shakes the balance. Because if more and more names go that way, suddenly the Premier League doesn't feel like the only place to see the stars anymore. And that's the thing, Port. Challengers aren't just about winning trophies, it's about pulling eyeballs, pulling talent, pulling storylines, sport. And right now, these other leagues are figuring out how to carve their piece of the pie. And if the Premier League slips even a little bit, if the hype train slows down, Port, you better believe La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and now even Saudi will pounce on that opening because the battle for best league is way bigger than England's bubble. Port, it's this constant arms race where money, legacy, and star attraction all collide. Man, the European success question is where it gets really interesting, Port, because on the surface, you've got this league that markets itself as the best, the strongest, the most competitive, Port. But then you look at the Champions League history and you realize, hold up, maybe the Premier League isn't as dominant as the hype makes it seem. Because yeah, you've had moments, Chelsea winning it in 2012, Liverpool in 2019, City finally breaking through in 2023. But when you stack that against what Spanish clubs have done, Port, especially Real Madrid, it's not even close. Madrid have been hoarding Champions Leagues like it's their birthright. Barcelona had their golden era. Port, even Sevilla cleaned up Europa Leagues like it was nothing. And that tells you something because the Premier League keeps bragging about depth and competitiveness, Port. But in Europe, it doesn't always translate to silverware. And maybe that's because the grind of the league is so brutal. You've got top teams getting battered week in, week out. Port. No easy games, so by the time knockout rounds roll around, they're exhausted. Meanwhile, Madrid is chilling, waiting for Europe nights, turning on the switch, Port. And suddenly they look untouchable. And you've got to wonder if the Premier League's chaos actually hurts them in Europe. Because yeah, City under Pep finally figured it out, Port. But it took them billions and years of heartbreak to get there, while Madrid just casually rolls through with their heritage aura, Port. And that's the question people throw back at England. Like, if your league is really the best, why aren't you stacking trophies every single year? Or why does a Spanish team with fewer resources keep wiping the floor with everybody? And then you look at Italy making finals again, Inter pushing City, Roma and Sevilla clashing in Europa. It shows you that Europe doesn't bow to the Premier League narrative. It's still wide open. And the wildest part is fans buy into the hype, Port. They think English clubs are guaranteed favorites, Port. And then some sneaky underdog from La Liga or Serie A just smacks them in the face and reminds everyone that the story's not that simple, Port. And that's why the European success question is like this big thorn in the Premier League side. Because globally, they've got the audience, they've got the stars, Port. They've got the money. But if you're measuring greatness by who actually lifts the most prestigious trophies, Port, then the crown isn't sitting as firmly on England's head as people think. And that contradiction makes the whole debate so damn fun. All right, so here's where I land on it, Port. Man, the Premier League is still this insane spectacle. It's chaos, it's drama, it's star power, it's managers beefing, underdogs swinging, and fans losing their minds all over the planet, and that's why people call it the best. But at the same time, you can't ignore the fact that Europe keeps humbling them. Sport. Madrid keeps flexing, other leagues keep reminding everyone that England doesn't own football, and now Saudi money is trying to flip the whole game upside down. Port. So is the Premier League still the best? Depends how you define best. If it's eyeballs, global reach, hype, and weekly chaos, yeah, nobody's touching it, Port. But if it's pure trophies and European dominance, then that crown is definitely being shared, maybe even slipping a little. And that's the beauty of the conversation, man. It's not settled. It's never going to be settled because football's alive. It shifts. It evolves. Port. And that's why we keep tuning in every weekend like addicts waiting for the next hit. So good luck to everybody out there arguing in bars, in group chats, on Twitter, Port. Wherever, you're all part of the madness. And thank you for riding this crazy football roller coaster. It's wild, it's tribal, and honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way.